Right now, you have access to more movies, more careers, more products, and more potential partners than any human being in history. But psychologically, this massive abundance is actively ruining your brain. The sheer volume of choices completely buries him, leaving only his stick figure hands waving out from the pile. In behavioral economics, this counterintuitive trap is known as the paradox of choice. Modern society teaches us a simple rule: more freedom and more choice equals more happiness. But decades of psychological data prove the exact opposite is true. After a very specific tipping point, abundance completely destroys your mental peace and creates total paralysis. The stickman stands at the entrance of the maze, his eyes spinning in cartoon spirals as he tries to process the lines. When faced with too many options, your brain suffers from a severe condition known as decision fatigue. Every single comparison you make leaks a tiny amount of mental energy out of your cognitive reserve. You become so terrified of making the mistake of picking the wrong path that your brain freezes. Unable to take any action at all, you remain completely stuck in place. To understand how deep this biological trap goes, we have to look at a famous behavioral study from Columbia University. The experiment involved a luxury grocery store display booth and jars of gourmet jam. On the first day of the experiment, researchers set up a tasting booth displaying 24 different flavors of exotic jam. Hundreds of curious customers approached the booth, highly fascinated by the massive, colorful selection. They tasted multiple samples, smiled, and spent minutes comparing the unique flavor profiles. But when it came time for those customers to actually pull out their wallets and buy, a shocking bottleneck occurred. Out of all the hundreds of people who lined up to taste the 24 flavors, only a miserable 3% actually bought a jar. The vast majority of the crowd simply walked away empty-handed, overwhelmed by the mental burden of choice. The next day, the researchers completely flipped the parameters of the experiment. They cut the choices down aggressively, displaying only 6 flavors of jam instead of 24. The final result of this minor adjustment was absolutely staggering to behavioral scientists. With only 6 options to choose from, the customers didn't experience any decision paralysis. Sales exploded instantly, with 30% of all customers purchasing a jar on the spot. This proved a brutal flaw in human psychology that shapes our entire modern existence. When the brain is overwhelmed by abundance, the mental cost of making a choice outweighs the actual joy of the reward. By the time you look at the 10th or 20th option, your brain is functioning with significantly reduced cognitive speed. And even when you do successfully manage to make a choice, abundance completely ruins the psychological payoff. Your mind instantly invents an imaginary, perfect alternative you could have picked instead. This fills your subconscious with immediate regret and a chronic, modern sense of missing out. This is the ultimate curse of the digital age. We are permanently haunted by the paths we chose not to walk. This choice paralysis isn't an accidental glitch in modern society. It is an intentional, highly engineered feature built by the world's most powerful corporations. Multi-billion-dollar tech giants meticulously design their user interfaces to exploit this evolutionary loophole. The application icons instantly morph into solid cage bars, snapping shut around the trapped stickman. If streaming apps or social media networks gave you the perfect option instantly, you would watch it and close the app. You would go live your life, connect with friends, or go to sleep on time. But if they present you with an endless, dizzying matrix grid of options, you stay trapped. Your brain stays in a perpetual, hypnotic state of searching and scrolling. The app's algorithms are making money based entirely on how many minutes your eyes are glued to that glass panel. An unsatisfied, searching mind is their most valuable and profitable asset. They intentionally build the trap, and we willingly walk right into the cage every single day. Your evolutionary brain was built for a world of absolute scarcity, where options were simple and survival-based. When thrown into a modern digital landscape of infinite choice, your baseline biology simply breaks down under the weight. But there is a single brutal psychological framework you can use to smash this loop entirely. It requires dividing humanity into 2 distinct groups based on how they process decisions. The first group is known as maximizers. These are the absolute perfectionists of the world. Maximizers must examine every single option before deciding on anything, big or small. They compare every flight price across 50 websites, read every review, and swipe indefinitely to find the absolute best result. The second group is known as satisficers. They operate on a completely different psychological blueprint. Satisficers set a firm, realistic baseline criteria of what they need before they ever start looking. The exact millisecond they find an option that meets that preset standard, they lock it in and completely stop searching. The data shows that while maximizers occasionally find slightly better objective results, they are vastly more depressed and anxious. They are permanently haunted by the agonizing illusion of perfection and the phantom regret of options they left behind. Satisficers, on the other hand, report significantly higher levels of long-term life satisfaction, happiness, and peace of mind. To break the tech loop entirely, you must consciously train your brain to adopt the satisficer framework. Stop looking for the absolute best. Define your acceptable standard beforehand, and close the application the moment you hit it. The next time you find yourself scrolling indefinitely, remember, the trap isn't that you haven't found the right choice yet. The trap is that you are still looking.